Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Jin,
And I'm Tony Yu.
and we would like to present to you the traditional Chinese festivals. We hope that you will learn lots about Chinese culture and perhaps be more informed the next time you stumble across a Chinese celebration.
Okay, before we begin talking about the festivals themselves, it is important to first familiarize yourself with the lunar calendar, as it is the calendar of all the Chinese festivals are based on. So, what's the difference between the calendar we use and the lunar calendar? Well, the calendar we use is called the Gregorian calendar, and it was named after Pope Gregory the 13th. This calendar is based on the sun, and every time the Earth go around the sun, it's a new year. The lunar calendar, as the name suggests, is based on the moon and the moon phase. So each lunation or cycle of this slide, yep, is approximately 29 and a half days. So it's common for the month of the lunar calendar to alternate between 29 and 30 days. Similar to Gregorian calendars, there are 12 months of the year. As you would expect, the days of the lunar calendar rarely match up with the day of the Gregorian calendar. And as you see here, 2021's New Year Day on the lunar calendar is actually February 12th, 2021 on the Gregorian calendar. All right, now we can move on to the actual festivals.
Okay, so first up, we have the Spring Festival. There are many names for this festival, such as Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. This is the New Year's Day on the lunar calendar, so obviously it is celebrated on the first day of the first month. In brackets here is the Gregorian calendar equivalent. This holiday is not only celebrated by the Chinese people, but many Asian countries, including Korea, Japan, Thailand, and the Philippines. According to the legends and myths, the Chinese New Year started with this creature called the Nian monster, who lives under the sea or in the mountains. This monster will come out and eat villagers in the night, which is pretty bad. One year, this old man came and told the villagers that he would defeat the Nian monster. It turns out that this old man has discovered that the Nian monster was scared of the color red and loud noises. So he wore red clothes, put on red paper, and set off firecrackers in the village. And sure enough, the Nian monster did not come. And year by year, this became tradition. Mythology aside, there are a few theories about the origin of this festival, but the one that is most widely accepted is that it was started by the Yao Emperor in the Chinese Bronze Age, and he wanted to gather people to worship the sky, the earth. One of the more modern traditions of Chinese New Year is giving red envelopes. These are little packets of money given to kids by the elderly. But many times these envelopes are taken by the parents for safekeeping, which is pretty accurate because you never saw the money ever again. Anyway, this money is called Tian, and it literally means money used to suppress the evil spirit. Another modern tradition is the Spring Festival Gala, and families across the country watch this show on TV during New Year's Eve. We actually have a New Year's Gala held here in the Fredericton Playhouse every year. Hopefully, this annual event can resume next year once COVID is less of a concern. So, get your shots, everyone.
Now we have the Lantern Festival, which is right after Spring Festival. Lantern Festival is on the 15th day of the first month of the lunar calendar, which, according to the Gregorian calendar, is the 26th of February 2021. As one of the oldest festivals in China, the Lantern Festival has evolved over the dynasties and has left many other names and traditions about this festival. Early in the Han Dynasty, during the Lantern Festival, people used to light lanterns up in the city as a worship activity purely because of the influence of Buddhism. During the Tang Dynasty, as Buddhism influence it exploded in China, the Lantern Festival was officially set as a national holiday. And as we proceed on to the Qing Dynasty, uh, more entertainment activities like the lion dance, dragon dance, when you're younger, were invented to compensate for this festival. In the lunar calendar, the 15th of each month is when the moon is at its fullest. And thus, the Lantern Festival is also called Round Moon Festival. People go out with their family to just appreciate the full moon. Also, in the Qing Dynasty, the lantern lights became less associated with Buddhism, but rather more towards a way of entertainment. Games like lantern riddles and lantern dragon dance were invented. Another big thing about this festival is the special kind of dumpling we eat. It's called yuanxiao. And in Chinese, the Lantern Festival is also called Yuanxiao Festival. So Yuanxiao is also called Tangyuan. They are shaped as a sphere and are stuffed with sweet feelings, meaning the reunion of a family.
All right, moving on to the Qingming Festival. It takes place on the 23rd day of the second month on the lunar calendar, which is April 4th this year. This festival is also known as Tomb Sweeping Day, or Chinese Memorial Day, or Ancestors Day. These names sort of give away what this festival is all about. On this day, Chinese families visit and pay tribute to their ancestors. They clean the tomb site, pray, and make offerings such as food or burning joss paper. Oftentimes, the joss paper can take shape as hell paper, which is honestly not a very good translation, but in essence, these are fake money or fake bills that would be burnt and sent to the people in the afterlife. And the denomination of these joss papers would typically be quite large, like a billion, and sometimes it would be a paper gold bar. And this is so that the afterlife can afford to travel first class or something. This festival originated from the Kofu Festival, which remembered Jie Zhitui, a nobleman of the state of Jing during the spring and autumn season. But the reason why this festival became what it is today is because of Emperor Tang Xuanzong. He saw that rich people were having too many expensive ceremonies to pay respects to their ancestors. So he decided to only allow these ceremonies to take place on just one day of the year. Sometimes this festival is mistaken for the day to worship ancestors, but it is actually an act of filial piety, which is the act of being respectful and honoring your elderly family members. Another traditional thing to do on this day is tug of war. This was passed down from the Emperor Tang Xuanzong, who would organize huge tug of war games with more than 500 people on each end. So that must be some pretty strong rope. It was traditionally thought that this day is the day with the best weather, so it is customary for people to travel on Qingming Festival. An interesting fact about this festival is that it also has religious significance. In Buddhist teachings, those who die with guilt are unable to eat in the afterlife except on Tomb Sweeping Festival. But then again, if their children show enough filial piety, they will burn lots of joss paper so that their ancestors can order DoorDash or Uber Eats.
Okay, the Dragon Boat festivals. We have just celebrated the Dragon Boat Festival on the 14th of June, 2021. In the lunar calendar, the Dragon Boat Festival takes place on the fifth day of the fifth month. It is known as one of the four most important Chinese festivals, along with the Spring Festival, the Qingming Festival, and the Mid-Autumn Festival. Speaking of its origin, there are many myths about this festival. Each comes with its own altered name and traditions. However, I'll tell you the most well-known and the most approved version. So the Dragon Boat Festival used to be a festival to worship the dragons for positive blessing for the family. It wasn't too big of a deal until the Zhanguo era. So just in case you don't know, during the Zhanguo era, China was split into many small nations or states, and each wanted to defeat each other and unify China. There's a nation called the Chu nation, and there they have one of the greatest politicians and poets of the era. His name is Qu Yuan. However, because of its fascist government, Qu Yuan was treated very poorly and got exiled and banished multiple times. Finally, after the Chu government has fallen and its nation conquered by the Qin nation, despite of the unequal treatment and all of those punishment, Qu Yuan refused to serve other nations. So he suicided by jumping into the Milo River. To pay tribute to Qu Yuan of his loyalty and greatness, people would throw food made of sticky rice with reed leaves into the river for fish, hoping that Qu Yuan's corpse wouldn't be eaten and forever stay in the river untouched. The food that they throw in the river for fish has become a representation of this festival. It's called zongzi. So it's basically sticky rice packaged into reed leaves. Within the rice, you can add anything that you like. For example, dates, beans, meat, or even egg yolk. To eat it, you'll have to steam it or boil it. Since the Dragon Boat Festival is also a dragon heavily related festival, people still worship the dragon, and hence the name Dragon Boat Festival. People would also race dragon boat, and that is one of the biggest activity during this time.
Next up, we have the Qixi Festival, which takes place on the seventh day of the seventh month. It is also called the Double Seven Festival, Chinese Valentine's Day, and the Night of the Sevens. I really like this festival because there's a really cool story that goes with it. This day is to celebrate the annual meeting of the cowherd and the weaver girl, and the story goes like this. There once was a weaver girl, Zhinyu, so like a girl who weaves, and a cowherd, Niu Lang. Now, Niu Lang was an orphan, and unfortunately, his brother and sister-in-law were not very nice to him and kicked him out of the house with only an old cow. One day, this old cow started speaking and told Niu Lang that a heavenly weaver would come and that she will only stay if she failed to return to heaven before morning. Sure enough, Zhinyu, which was the weaver girl, came and Niu Lang got her to stay. They eventually fell in love and got married. Now, unfortunately for them, the Emperor of Heaven heard about this marriage and was furious, and he sent troops down to take Zhinyu away. Of course, Niu Lang was sad and chased after them, but the Queen Mother of the West created the Milky Way in the sky to block them. The magpies, which are like a type of bird, saw how much they loved each other and built a bridge with their bodies over the Milky Way for them to meet once again. The emperor was also very impressed by this feat and allowed Zhinyu and Niu Lang to meet on this bridge of magpies once a year on the day of the Qixi Festival. One of the traditional things for girls to do on this day is to worship the celestials. They will pray to Zhinyu for wisdom and dexterity in weaving. They will also burn joss paper and pray for a loving husband like Niu Lang. They also traditionally have needle threading contests in low light conditions. Another tradition during this festival is to eat qiao guo. which is mainly made from flour, oil, sesame seeds, honey, and nuts. More modernly, this day is similar to our Valentine's Day, and people will express their affection to their significant others by giving gifts or picking flowers.
If you have ever heard of mooncake, this is the festival that's associated with it. Mid-Autumn Festival is also known as the Moon Festival. On this day, people would worship the moon, have mooncakes, and appreciate the moon. As we've introduced earlier about the Lantern Festival, the moon reaches its fullest on the 15th of each month in the lunar calendar. And the full moon of the Mid-Autumn Festival, which happens on the 15th of the 8th month, is the fullest of the fullest. Referencing the fullness of the moon, Chinese often consider it as a sign of reunion and the emotion of homesickness. And hence, on this day, families come together for reunion. The Mid-Autumn Festival, like the Qixi Festival that Andy just talked about, is also originated from a beautiful story. So once upon a time, there was a couple, the boy named Hou Yi and the girl named Chang'e. So relating back to another famous myth, Hou Yi was a godlike hero that shot down 10 of the nine suns in the sky. Because of this, he was able to get an immortal pill from Xi Wangmu, whom's the queen of God. Because Hou Yi and Chang'e is such a lovely couple, Hou Yi decided to let Chang'e keep the pills for him. And he planned to take the pills together with Chang'e sometimes later in their life. Well, however, bad things always happen. One day when Hou Yi was out, Chang'e was threatened by a robber for the pills. At this critical juncture, Chang'e decided to swallow the pills instead of getting it stolen and giving this to others. Because Chang'e ate the pills and became immortal, she got sent to the moon. She's forever immortal, but forever separated from her husband, Hou Yi. And a fun fact is that when Chang'e started floating to the moon, she actually took her favorite rabbit with her. So legends say when the moon is full during the Mid-Autumn Festival, you can see Chang'e on the moon with her rabbit. Other than the moon, people also drink osmanthus wine and have osmanthus cakes. By all means, the Mid-Autumn Festival is a festival of family reunion and the love and connection between you and your family members.
All right, so the Double Ninth Festival, which is also known as the Chongyang Festival, is held on the ninth day of the ninth month. The name Chongyang comes from the root words chong, which means repeat or double, and yang, which is like a positive force. And it's called this because the word for nine in Chinese is a homonym to longevity or living a long life. And this festival occurs on the ninth day of the ninth month. Legend says that during the East Han Dynasty, there was a devil of the plague in the Ruhe River. As long as it showed up, people got sick and even died. There once was a man named Huan Jing. His parents died from the plague and he almost did as well. But after he recovered, he decided to learn the way to kill the devil of the plague. He heard that there was an immortal who lived in the eastern area. So he took a long journey and finally found the immortal. The immortal was moved by this honorable goal and taught him how to kill the devil of the plague. One day, the immortal told Huan Jing that the devil of the plague would show up again on the ninth day of the ninth month, and he asked Huan Jing to go back to kill it. When Huan Jing went back, he asked the whole village to go to a mountain and send everyone a 煮玉 leaf and a glass of chrysanthemum wine. When the devil of the plague emerged from the water, it got dizzy from the scent of the 煮玉 and the chrysanthemum. At that time, Jin took the sword and killed the devil of the plague. So following this legend, it is customary for people to go hiking or climbing mountains on this day, as well as wearing the Zhuyu plant and drinking the chrysanthemum wine as a symbolic way of curing illness and to live a long life. In 1989, China designated this day to be Seniors' Day, and it is celebrated alongside the Double Ninth Festival. And it makes sense because of the symbolism of longevity. On this day, it is customary for families to visit the elders and to pay their respects, and oftentimes people will eat chou cakes, which are cakes that are made from 9 layers.
Finally, we have the Laba Festival. Well, Laba Festival is on the 8th day of the 12th month in the lunar calendar, which happened on January 20th, 2021. Starting from the Qin dynasty, Laba was a festival to worship gods and the celebration of medicine. Slowly, as we proceeded to the Song dynasty, a tradition of drinking the Laba porridge was found. Because on this day, Shakyamuni became a Buddha, and therefore he needs to be worshipped and fed by vegan porridge, which is the Laba porridge. Well, the Laba porridge is made of rice and different kind of beans. It's 100% Buddha safe and 100% vegan. Later on, during the Qing dynasty, on the day of Laba, rich and high-ranked people would give their servants Laba porridge to show their kindness and bring luck to their families. They would also have the porridge with their family and friends to bring more good luck. In the north of China, people would make Laba garlic by jarring fresh garlic cloves with black vinegar. They jar the garlic on the day of Laba, and the garlic would turn into a jade green color, and they'll be ready to eat on the day of the Spring Festival.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation on traditional Chinese festivals. Hopefully you guys found it interesting and perhaps learned something new. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.